So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the CFS webinar series. I am Uday, part of the CLC Finishing School team. And today we have a very exciting speaker, Tuhin Mukharjee, and he's going to be talking about negotiation skills. Before we start and I hand over to Tuhin, I wanted to set a few ground rules. One, please make sure that you have your video on. That will help all of us and Tuhin really get the energy from all of you. Second, I would request all of you to as you're going through Tuhin is going through his material, make sure that you're posting your questions on the chat window. I'll be picking those up towards the end of the webinar and having Tuhin address them and answer them. So over to you, Tuhin.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot, Mr. Uday. So today we're in a very exciting event, means that exciting kind of the discussion, it's negotiation. So a little bit about myself. My name is Tuhin Mukharjee. Basically, I'm from nearby Calcutta. By education, I'm an MBA in marketing, postgraduate supply chain, Six Sigma from ISI, and also I am certified in neuro-linguistic programming and design thinking. So by work, I was with ICICI Bank earlier as an investment banker. Then I shifted into the training, coaching, and management education. So I've been teaching into many means universities and institutions. Simultaneously, I was involved, means I'm also involved right now in business consulting and corporate training. So this is a short profile about me. So right now I'll actually means dive into the discussion. Today's discussion, the topic is that negotiation. So all of you know that negotiation is very, very important, and every day we do it. So we do it knowingly, unknowingly. We do it without training, with training. Many facets are there in this negotiations things. So people think that there should be a training or the kind of the structured method, but I must say that there is a something that which is out of the box, means that negotiation is a kind of the personal trait coupled with the leadership quality when it comes to deal with some kind of the typical situation. As I know that when some kind of the typical negotiation happens, like in the public sector unit and the government also, particularly in the means external kind of the affairs. So they are also taught to be a negotiator. Not only the bureaucrats, but also the ministers, they are also taught. So recently there was a kind of the example. I'll share that how the negotiation took place within a few seconds, and 4 years conflict got resolved. So that's a very interesting kind of thing. So let me go to the first some kind of the theoretical discussion, then I'll come to the practical means analysis on that.
Tuhin, you not yet shared your slide deck.
Yeah, I'll do that. So this is all the kind of, now it is visible. Yeah, this is my short introduction that I told that I am an MBA, Six Sigma design thinking. Also, I am also co-author with the Philip Kotler book that has been recently launched, that EUMM Essentials of Modern Marketing. So where the people, some of the people are here also. We launched this book in India for the first time. Now, negotiation is a very difficult kind of the job because you won't find it in a kind of the structured situation. Sometimes it is unstructured, sometimes it is structured. So it's a very difficult and the tricky kind of the means topic that we need to actually understand. So the process of the negotiation demands not only the good business judgment, but also keen understanding of the human nature. So that is the basic point, because the negotiation needs some kind of the personal traits that where we should apply what kind of the means negotiation skills to get into the conclusion. That is the main matter that we'll be discussing. So somewhere that it is taught also various B schools, various kind of the training, how to negotiate in a structured way. But more I think that it's a kind of the situational kind of the process, because you never know which kind of the tactics or which kind of the skills is required to solve the particular problem in a particular situation. So there are some movies also that you can easily watch it. That is also available, I think, in YouTube. One is The Negotiator. It's a very good movie. And another also Indian movie, Hindi movie, means in English, basically, that is called the Mukti. It is set on the India-Pakistan war, means kind of the scenario. That is the Bangladesh independence. So that is how, where also we can see that how the negotiation took place between the two countries in a war negotiation. So I must say that is a very unstructured kind of the thing, though we need to put it in a structured discussion while we actually talk about the negotiation. So negotiation requires special traits and it has to build up very carefully, because as we say that leadership actually, when it comes to the leadership traits are also built. It is not also the by born or the nature. So sometimes other leadership leaders are trained. So that is how that negotiation skills also can be actually means incalculate in our character or in our means personal traits. So we actually see that many kinds of the negotiation when the buyer and the seller come together for any kind of the bargaining or any kind of the selling process. So that's basically things that we do every day. But why actually negotiation is required? Basically, there's a when there is a lack of competition, so that is under buying and means service capabilities, high or the low price quality service, high level of the uncertainty, urgency, longer lead time, necessary for flexible contracts. These are the some of the areas where generally we do negotiate in a corporate structure. So these are the kind of thing that we must have seen in a basically supply chain management or any kind of the purchase negotiation kind of the contract. Basically, the people do on the RFP, when they actually receive a kind of the RFP, they actually do negotiate on this kind of the terms. But apart from that, we need to see the negotiation in a much larger area, much bigger sphere. So that is what that. In that, as we also know that in negotiation, basically there are four means kind of the situation can arise. One is that win-win, lose-win, lose-lose, and win-win. So these are the kind of the situation when there's a kind of the two parties involved. So basically, this is the ideal situation is that win-win situation. Means when the two parties actually reach to a means comfortable conclusion out of that deal. But I must say that it is not, it does not happen always. But we try to get a win-win kind of the situation. That is the objective for any kind of the negotiation. So success means some behavioral traits are very, very important. What are the traits that when we do negotiate? Very important traits that we have to have a patience, because this is the one of the main important thing that I have seen while the negotiation, because you cannot do anything in a hurry. So you need to actually pause, you need to think, then again you need to start. So patience is very, very important, because somewhere that people do wait for you to take the action, and that time you need to be very patient to understand what the opponent party is thinking or doing. So patience is very, very important. Clarity is utmost important when we do negotiate, because if we are not having definite objective, so probably we will not be able to negotiate in that particular point. In that area, I must say there should be a boundary, because when you are actually negotiate for some time, we need to set a boundary till where we can actually go. And after that, we need to cancel it, because every negotiation cannot be unbounded or unlimited. If you are sitting without clarity, without boundaries, definitely are going to lose the negotiation, or definitely are going to lose the deal, because that will be a deal where you don't know where you will be reaching. So that is the clarity, and the boundary is very, very important. You have to have a very clear means clarity about your goal, and first you need to set your boundary. If you are not setting your boundary, probably it will go anyway. Administration skill also there, mastery of the details, because when you are doing before that, you need to do a very good homework, because what thing you can give. I can give you an example, because 15 days back only we are actually doing a means negotiation with a kind of a person for a kind of the seminar. The person is based out of the Europe. So it took me for 5 hours to negotiate, and 4 times I actually change the contract, because he is saying something and I is saying something, and he is giving some kind of the means clause. So like that it went from, I started in Indian time by 5 o'clock and it ended I think 9:30 like that. So 4 hours it took, and 5 times I need to change the contract and send him again. Then again I was waiting for his feedback. Then I need to change. So this is a kind of the patience, because 4.5 hours for a simple kind of the agreement to change. and redo it and set the things again. So it's a very means monotonous job, though it has got a long-term implication because we do not do it right now. When we do it, the things in a practical way, everything can go wrong. So that is why it's very important. The mastery of the details is very important. Rapport building. I'll come to the detail of the rapport building with the help of neuro-linguistic programming. But it's very important when we actually make the rapport with the opponent party. Listening skill, clarity, patience, and the listening skill. If you are not listening properly, you will be losing the point. So listening is more important than what you speak. Very, very important point that you need to understand. So as such, there could be a kind of the four situations like that earlier when kind of the things. There could be competing, collaborating, accommodating, avoiding. So the best situation is that when we do collaborate, sometimes we focus on the people, not on the business objective. So that is not the good. Sometimes we actually focus on the business objective also, not on the people. That is also not good. So when we need to focus on both, that is how we can collaborate. So collaborating situation is always better for any kind of the negotiation, not the competing. We are not going to compete. If you are competing, probably the negotiation will not happen. If it happens also, it will not last long because we know so many kind of the merger and acquisition has happened because of the demand of the particular situation. But after some time, 3 to 4 years, all this merger and acquisition went into wrong, means actually got a breakup. So that is the kind of the thing. So competing, accommodating, and avoiding, these are the kind of, I can say, only a short-term kind of the remedy. It is not going to give you a kind of the expected result. So collaborating, when you are collaborate with your counterpart, definitely it is going to give you a result that means that will help both the parties to achieve their goal. Very, very important part. Skills, all the skills what we spoke about, that these are the very important skills. You have to have your means win the trust, business judgment, ability to tolerate the conflict, be patient, time means and also the time management, commitment to the integrity, mutual satisfaction, ability to listen with the open mind. So these are the kind of the traits which are required for any leader also to succeed in their area. So these are the things also required in the negotiation skill. So negotiation is a very, I can say, it's a very kind of the small kind of the thing sometimes happens, but it's a means it's a table of the tension. It's a table of the tension where the two parties or the more parties sit against each other and they try to pull the string to in their favor. So that is the basically definition of the negotiation. So it's a kind of the tension table. So when there is a tension in the table, so that time we have to be patient. We have to have an open mind, clear kind of the communication, and that will help to achieve the objective. So these are the basically traits for the negotiator. You have to be a good negotiator. Now, very important part, because this is a diagram, I must say this is the most important part because you won't find out of something of this diagram. This we say that ASK diagram means that skill, attitude, the knowledge. These are the very important diagram because when we are negotiating, we should have the required skill, knowledge, and attitude. And that should come actually in that moment in a particular fashion to solve that particular problem. If you are not very if you are not having good knowledge, if you are not expert on that.
He froze, I think, right? Something wrong with the network, I believe. So let's give him a moment. He should be back. Yes, Tuhin, I think some network issue. You're on mute, Tuhin. Tuhin, you're on mute.
There is a
Yeah,
cyclonic storm, so that is why that it is from
Oh,
morning.
yeah, true. That side. Yes, yes. No worries, but we can hear you now. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll continue that. So the
Yes.
thing is that so the ask means the diagram is very probably there will be a difficulty in actually changing the slides. So you can actually change the slides from that end.
Okay,
So
just give me a moment. Uday, would you be
yeah,
able to share the screen with his presentation and manage that? Because he's on phone now, so I think you need our help.
Do that. Give me a
Okay.
minute.
Yeah. Ask one. Oh, this one. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
That is the kind of the model I was talking about, ASK model. So ASK model is a very important model that where we actually need to need to have the right kind of the skill, knowledge, and attitude. So this is a very important because you won't find everything in a proper combination. So that is what required. If you want to be in the successful of your life, also you need to have the proper skill, knowledge, and your attitude in a such a way that you can maximize your performance and you can actually realize your potential. So that is the kind of the thing it happens. So that is what we need to say, that this is a very important point, that you should have that knowledge, skill, and attitude. I think this is the most important kind of the concept that we ever have. Next part is that, so that when we do something, particularly kind of the negotiation, I have seen in the negotiation, means the next slide we can find it's a kind of the elephant basically. But the thing is that it's not an elephant when somebody actually touches its parts from the various angle. So somebody even touches from the tail, it's a rope. Somebody touches its weight, so it's a tree. Somebody actually touches its means kind of the trunk, so it's a kind of the different assumption they have. So everybody has got a different kind of the assumption when they touch a big kind of the elephant, because that is why the people think that they are touching the reality in that way, but actually it doesn't happen like that. It's a kind of the elephant that is, if anybody can see, but all the people are blind, so that is why they touch into some part of the elephant and they understand that this is some kind of the different kind of the thing. So when we do negotiate or we do actually sit for the particular situation, we might find that this is a something different, but actual something is different is happening. So the holistic situation analysis is very important. If you are not actually taking the situation in a means analyzing the situation in a holistic way, probably will be having a different kind of the conclusion. So that is why that it's very important that we need to go into the details. Detailing is very important, particularly before setting any negotiation topic. So this is a very important concept that we need to also understand. Next slide, we can see the two movies that I talked about. The one is the negotiator and another is the the movies are very important. You can see it. I think these are means Mukti is also available in YouTube, and Negotiator also I can I think that it is there. Otherwise, it's available freely available also. So these are the old movies. Means Negotiator is also old movie, but no old movie. But the thing is that when this movie actually released, it got a good kind of the attention. It got a good kind of the attention about the it got good kind of the it got a good kind of attention about the movie. So the so this is a kind of the movie that always we can actually. So next slide we can see the means the basically two kind of the war happened in actual means in our
Guys, we have to excuse the cyclone to be causing some disturbance today. So
I think network must have gone.
yeah, but that's what he's in a cyclone hit area, right? So today it's a bit of challenge.
We can just run the slides maybe.
No, just hold on.
No, we can't do that.
He will let us know.
So that's a kind of the movie that we can see that it's a kind of the historic movie where the America got independence, and also that India actually Bangladesh got also independence. So these are the two kind of the movies where the negotiation took actually a very significant role. So that is the very important part that we can actually see. In the next slide, the very important topic that we are going to deal. So that is that change of the mind. It's a next slide. So that we'll see that it's a kind of the neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, that will actually help to set our mindset. So when we are doing a kind of the any kind of the negotiation, that actually helps us to set our mindset. So that is a kind of the small kind of the concept always we can draw from the NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Because if we change our mindset, the thing is that probably we can change the direction of any kind of the negotiation. So that's a very important part. So NLP is a kind of the thing that easily can be applied when we are setting any kind of the negotiation. So I'll discuss some of the points I'll touch about that. NLP is a kind of the thing that actually it was invented by John Grinder and Richard Bandler. Both are the NLP expert, but none of them are actually psychologist. Basically, one of these is a computer expert and another is the kind of the language expert. But the thing is that they thought the way the algorithm works in the computer, so we give the command and we get the output. Same way the things can also happen when our actual human brain works. If we give that kind of the inputs, we'll be getting a same kind of the output. So that is the concept of the NLP. So that's a very important part. And next slide, we can see that Milton Erickson and Virginia Satir, these are the two doctors. They treated always the patients by seeing the kind of the behavior. That I can give you one example. So Virginia Satir was a kind of the psychologist. Means one couple came to her and said that the wife was complaining that she wants divorce because her husband is always shouting on her. So Miss Virginia Satir asked her that always means define the always. It is 7 days in a week, 30 days in a month, or 365 in a year. So they said no, sometimes he does it. First she said that he was doing always, then he said that sometimes. Means that whatever we say, it is not like that. We make a kind of the general assumption. So it happens also every time when we do kind of the negotiation, we make it as a very generalized kind of the assumption and we do not go generally kind of the particular situation. So making a kind of the particular assumption like the touching the elephant will actually spoil the whole concept of the negotiation. So that's very, very important. So neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming is basically that means neuron means the neuro is the neuron, linguistic means the language, and programming all we know that how the things work. So this is a neuro-linguistic programming that is going to help. We'll find it in the next slide, that neuro-linguistic programming. After that, there are the 4 pillars of the NLP, which is very important for the negotiation. One is rapport building, one is sensory means awareness, another is outcome, another is the flexibility. So these are the very important point that we need to understand, because if you are doing a kind of the negotiation, if you are sitting with, in a negotiation table, we need to build a rapport. We need to build a rapport with the person. Number one, we need to be very flexible because we cannot be rigid. That is why I said there should be a boundary. If there is no boundary, we cannot do it. That is why we have to be flexible within the boundary. And the outcome, always we have to actually understand that what could be the outcome, and we have to be very positive, optimistic about the outcome as well. If you are not doing it, probably we will fall, means we will fail basically. So that is why we can find that many big organizations, starting from the Nokia, BlackBerry, Kodak, they could not even survive in the market because all of them could not actually change the way they actually was working. Nokia actually could not adopt that technology in a proper way. They vanished. Kodak actually means it was advised to the Kodak management to actually shift into the digital mode in 1970s. But they said that as we are the market leader, we do not need to change right now into the digital mode. So that is why today we will not find the Kodak. Same thing happened with the BlackBerry as well. BlackBerry also was on one point of the time in market leader in a high segment phone, but they are not flexible. And Nokia, all we know that Nokia story is very, very sad story, because they are dominating more than 90% of the market share, and today they are nowhere. So these are the very important part. You have to be flexible, be it in any kind of the deal, any kind of the situation. If you are not adapting, if you are not changing with the situation, probably you will be not surviving. It is very difficult. So that is why the concept very important when we actually talk about the kind of the negotiation skills or comments related with the NLP. Now, very important part. This is a very important part, and the next slide we would go and we will find it that the very important part is that when we do NLP, neuro linguistic programming, there are some kind of the things that we need to watch, because we are sitting in a counter table, means in a table with the counterparts and discussing or try to negotiate on some kind of the deal. So that is why their physical behavior is very, very important. We need to be very careful while they are sitting, talking or discussing any topic. So their skin color, their means breathing rate, their location means that their chest location, their eye movement, these plays a very important role. And that is why that I think that if someone is a good negotiator, they will watch it very minutely, because that will tell many things without saying any kind of the word. And it will not be wrong, it will not be any, nobody can actually deny this kind of the thing, because all these things happens internally and those things are expressed externally. So the good negotiator need to watch all these things very carefully. We'll just find out in the next slide that the kind of the things are there. So we'll come to the point that skin color. Go to the next slide. So here next one, skin color is very, very important. So then means location, then the focused eye. These are the kind of the thing very important when we do that. Come to the next slide that we will see some kind of the example there. So this is a lip that you can see. See that this is a lip. The lip is a something different. And the next slide you will see another lip. So see that two kinds of the lips are there. One is reddish, another is not that red, some kind of the fed. So when there is a less kind of the blood circulation, so you will not actually find that kind of the reddish lip, basically. Unless until there is some kind of the different kind of the things happen. Normal, I'm talking of the normal people. So this is a kind of the thing when there is a kind of the tension, when there is a kind of the anxiety within. So that kind of the situation easily we can find out by seeing the color of the lip. So this is a very important. We'll go to the next slide. See, this is a eye. This is a one kind of the eye, which is basically means larger than the normal kind of the eye. Next, go to the next slide. This is a normal eye. So this is a kind of the eye that when we see this is a kind of the eye, typically we can understand what that person is thinking. Is he actually strategizing? Is he means astonished, or he is actually means out of the control? So this is the kind of the things immediately will understand that this is the kind of things, and these are the kind of, I'll tell you, this is a very important trick, because I have been I have heard that. So even the people who interrogate the very dangerous kind of the terrorist and all, they also use this kind of the tricks, because they doesn't do, because whatever we see in the movie, they do not do like that way. So they treat them very well, and they try to actually take out the information very peacefully, not using the kind of the third degree that we see in the Bollywood movie. So they also actually kind of the use of this kind of the tricks. They also do the negotiation, because if these are kind of the people that are very dangerous kind of the people, they will not give any information like just like that. So that is why they also negotiate. They negotiate in a table, and they also watch the way their physical behavior or the physical structure is changing. So this is a very particular, and there's a kind of the training they do how to negotiate with this kind of the terrorist in a very dangerous situation. So these are the very important part that we actually need to understand before sitting in a negotiation table, and a good negotiator can easily understand all these things by seeing just the behavior of the another person. Now we go to the next slide. Now this is a very important communication model. Communication, I said that communication is very important when we do the negotiation. The communication model, as we talk about everywhere, we talk about the oral communication. So that is what the people, mostly the people say, but it is not the oral communication or the spoken word. It has got only 7% value. It is not that much valuable. 38% is the voice and the tune, means the way we are talking, and the 55% is the body language. So that is the kind of the total communication style. So generally we focus on the kind of the words that we are using, but it has got only 7% value. So most of the things are there in our voice, tune, and body language. Means not that what we are delivering, but also how we are delivering, and with the kind of the body language we are using, that will actually give you a kind of the proper kind of the information about you to some person. So that is why communication is very important. When you are sitting for the communication, our tone, body language plays very important role apart from the words that we speak. Next slide, please. So this is the kind of the thing that we'll come to the next slide. See, where we see the two people. Yeah. So two people are standing. Now the very important is that matching and mirroring. This is a very important point, because rapport building, when you were sitting in a negotiation stage, or you were negotiating, that could be anywhere. So you were actually standing or sitting before or just side of any person. So very important that you need to build a rapport. Here one concept is very important, that is the matching and mirroring. Matching and mirroring, that we'll understand. That we go to the next slide. Please go to the next slide. Next slide. The difference in the matching and the mirroring, that when we stand before a mirror, we get a mirror image. So that our left side will be in the right and right side will be the right. That's the one image. But when we stand just beside a person, that is the kind of the matching, because his left side also will be my left side, his right side also will be my right side. So this is a kind of the thing. Now matching and mirroring, this kind of the posture, if we use any negotiation situation, easily we can build a rapport. It is scientifically proved. The way the person is sitting, if you sit in that way, probably you can actually make a good rapport, with the person very soon. So that is a very important part. So that is why we have seen in many, if you notice that, particularly our politicians, when they sit across with the other politician, particularly prime minister, any kind of the foreign delegation, you see how they are sitting. Either they generally do match or mirror, generally, because this is a kind of the things that we will find it, because that will help them to make a rapport with the other person. Please go to the next slide. Yeah, next. Yeah, this is a kind of the mirror style. Okay, both person are sitting opposite side. So these are the mirror style. So this is a kind of the thing that will also help to build a rapport. Go to the next slide. So this is a matching. So that here is the Barack Obama and it was the Australian president. Both of them are sitting almost in the same way. So it is not a coincidence. We think that it is always a coincidence. It is not a coincidence, and it does not happen like that. There is a definite kind of the rule they do follow when they actually meet their counterpart for certain issue. So there is a matching kind of style. Go to the next slide. This is also matching. Both persons are sitting in the same way almost. This is also matching. So this is a kind of thing. Go to the next slide. Here, the Barack Obama and also the Australian president, both are holding the suit almost in a same way, only the difference in the side. So this is also kind of the matching style. So they do follow all these kind of the rules when they do meet, because certainly Barack Obama and Australian president, they are discussing some issues. They are not playing the golf like just like that only. They are actually discussing something. So that is the thing is very important, how the things they are going to resolve, how they are going to make rapport with the other person for the particular situation. Go to the next slide. Yeah, there's a kind of thing. This is also the mirror. Next. Now, the conflict management is very, very important, because the conflict, whenever we go do any kind of the negotiation, particularly we try to solve the conflict, because could be a conflict, there could be a power conflict, there could be any kind of the deal conflict. So conflict management is very, very important. Without resolving the conflict, probably we cannot actually do the proper kind of the negotiation. It has happened recently. I was telling in the beginning, it has happened recently. Because in 2020, India and the China, actually both of the country had a very dangerous problem in Galgaon area, where both of them were actually engaged in the war. The things were getting worse, and it went up to 2024. Means both of the countries actually deployed their soldiers, tank, and everything. But the thing has changed dramatically in the BRICS summit. The BRICS summit happened in Russia, where the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese Prime Minister, they discussed, I think, for few minutes, only few minutes they discussed the matter. After this discussion only, the 4 years conflict got resolved. The next day, Chinese actually military removed from that place, and the Indian military also got removed from that place. Both the countries that day means temporary kind of the all artillery and war kind of the things were they deployed over that area, but they removed instantly after having a discussion only for few minutes. So that is called the negotiation. If you are going to negotiate, it takes very long, means very few seconds or few minutes, but it has got a very long implication. This is one kind of thing I can say that. All we know that Usain Bolt is the fastest runner in the world. He was the fastest runner. I think he completed the 100-meter in 9 point something some seconds. That is the time actually he took to complete. But he took more than 20 years to complete that thing. So he practiced more than 20 years so that he can actually finish 100 meters within 9 seconds. So that is a kind of thing. So if you are sitting for a negotiation, you need to practice for the long time, because actual thing is going to happen for very few minutes or some hours. So it's not going to last for long, but it will have an implication for the long. So that is why whatever the concept actually I am actually touching upon, these are the some of the concepts that we need to actually develop while we are actually doing the negotiation. Conflict management is very important. It has got some kind. The next slide. The personal values, perception, means conflicting goals, power dynamics. These are the things that it plays a very important role. So conflict management. Please go to the next slide. So these are the kind of the things that will actually play the very important role. The personal values, perception, conflicting goals. Well, these are the cause for the conflict. But the thing is that we need to keep in a mind that while sitting for that, our objective is to resolve the conflict. And that is why we need to prepare for the long time, keeping in the objective in the mind that both parties should have a win-win kind of the situation, so that they can actually reach to the final conclusion. Please, next slide. The conflicting management styles. I'll touch upon some of the styles. One is the accommodating and is the avoiding. Accommodating means that somehow we try to accommodate someone. We are not angry, but we are not actually rejecting them. Accommodating means, okay, chalo, let's see that we'll keep that kind of the thing. This is a kind of the thing where it is not a very good kind of the situation. It's not an ideal situation either. And avoiding is that we are not even sitting that, we are not doing that. It's a kind of the avoiding. We try to avoid that situation. In that case, conflict will not be resolved. Collaborating is a very good kind of the thing where we need to collaborate. We need to collaborate with the other party to reach to the certain conclusion. Collaborating is the ideal situation where the both parties will have their own pie. because that is the kind of the situation where both parties will be benefited. So collaborating is very good, ideal situation. Next is that competing and compromising. Competing will never give you expected result, because if you are actually sit and compete, probably you need to defeat or you will be defeated. So that is not an ideal kind of the situation. Compromising, next is that compromising is a kind of the situation where you need to compromise, because you need to actually leave some points that you will not be satisfied also. So the if you actually compromise, that will be very short or the temporary. On the long run, you will be looking for the next alternative. So that is why competing is also not good. So here at the kind of the leadership also is important. That is the leader, servant leader, lean leader. What kind of the leadership you follow? Are you going to follow the kind of the means the people with whom you are negotiating? You are going to follow their instruction, or you actually are going to means they are going to follow your own instruction? So leadership style also very important. But the most important part is the transformational leader. Transformation leader will take the decision as the situation demands. They will transform something so to suit that situation. So that is why nowadays the transformation leadership is more important rather than the all other leadership. Like that, there are other leadership style are the laissez-faire, authoritarian. These are the kind of the leadership style where that somebody will not intervene or somebody will overpower other. So these are the kind of the leadership style. I don't think that it is suitable for particular situation. It might be suitable for some particular, but it cannot be applied for the all the areas. So these are the very important point that we need to see. The next part is the digital negotiation. Nowadays, it's very, very important that we need to understand that what means how to do the digital negotiation. Because most of the deals are happening digitally. People are sitting one part of the world and they are digitally negotiating other parties in the other part of the world. So that is why negotiation is very important. So like that, I was doing negotiation just 15 days back, sitting in Calcutta. I was negotiating with a person sitting in Germany. So this is the kind of the thing it was happening. So negotiation is very important. Here, there are many concepts are there. I am touching some of the concepts. It's a kind of there could be a video conferencing, collaborative tool, instant messages. These are the kind of things, the technical part. There could be a e-sign, means electronic sign, digital, that could be means face-to-face kind of the digital conference, video conference. So these are the kind of thing that always can be done technically. But what is more important when you are negotiating like that, if you are doing negotiating sitting in a country and with another country, you need to actually define the culture, because culture has got a different kind of the rules on the regulation, means implication on the negotiation. So culturally, you need to understand means what kind of the culture they are following. So that is very important when you are doing digital kind of the negotiation, because you cannot even see the person in a proper way. You can sometimes you can see only the upper part. So these are the kind of the things digital negotiation has got a very means a different kind of the implications, and the culture has got both things merged when we are doing digital negotiating digitally. Very important point. But the advantage is that always that there is a good it means you can negotiate any part of the with the person, any part of the globe, remove the global barriers, flexible schedule, you can do the record also. So these are the kind of the thing always that will help, but there is a different kind of the implications also altogether. So that is why we need to do a thorough groundwork before doing that digital negotiation. I think that digital negotiation, you need to do a very good thorough research before sitting a digital negotiation rather than a physical. In physical situation, at least you can do this matching, mirroring, you can observe the person, you can observe the situation. These things can happen, but this is not possible in digital way. So that's a very important point. The next most important point is that it is called the BATNA, because that which is called the better alternative to a negotiated agreement. So this is a very important. When you are sitting for a negotiation, you should have an alternative kind of the thing. Because if these things does not go well, then we have to go for the alternative. So the thing is that better alternative to a negotiated agreement is very, very important. That can happen with the same party, that can happen with the different party altogether. So this is a very important point, and all the deals should have this kind of the alternative. Because when we say that there should be a plan B, plan C, this kind of the concept, it is also same kind of the concept which is applied in negotiation. Now, what is that purpose? Purpose is that evaluating. First, that evaluate that how we are going to do and why do we need, what kind of the things you need require. So that purpose has to be very clear. Then the strength also means that what is our backup plan, how we are going to do, negotiate that, potentially means push your terms. So these are the kind of the things that you need to do. That is why that Banta is very, very important. So without the kind of the Banta, the thing is that probably will end up compromising. So if there is a kind of the Banta and if there is a kind of the boundaries, probably we will be in a better situation. And I touched the many points, though I touched it very fast, but I touched that physical gesture, posture, communication, it means the digital negotiation, Banta, even the work-like situation. These are the kind of the things will give you a kind of the very good picture as how we actually proceed for the negotiation. So this is the total kind of the things I can touch upon within a short time. So that will give the total clarity, and I think that we can understand that how important negotiation is for us and how we can do that. Thanks. Is there any kind of the question that we can, Mr. Uday?
Thank you, Tuhin. That was an amazing presentation. There was the first question that was there was, when you were talking about examples of negotiation, one of the questions was, can you give an example of negotiation due to lack of competition?
Yeah, negotiation due to the lack of the competition, particularly it happens when there is a monopoly. If you see any kind of the government contract or the government supply, because it is a kind of the competition is not there. So negotiation is very, very difficult in that case. I can give you some kind of the examples. Way back 70s, 1970s or before that, there used to be a license right. License right means that you need to get a license for setting up any kind of the industry. So that time there is no kind of the negotiation. Even I can see when I was a kid long time back. So my father got a scooter. He had to wait 8 months for getting a scooter. And that I'm not telling the name of that scooter company. Everybody knows. Without tilting, that scooter never started. So this is a kind of the thing you have to wait for 8 months for getting a kind of the scooter. If there is a no competition, it is a kind of the monopoly. Probably your negotiation power is very less at that point of time. Now sitting in your home, you can just using your any kind of the phone and thing, probably the scooter or any kind of the bike will be delivered in your home without any delay. But that was not a situation what I am talking about. Even that is, I think that 80s or the mid 80s, why one person need to wait for the 8 months to get a one kind of the scooter. So that is the kind of when there is a no competition, if it's a monopoly, or even today, if there is a kind of the government contract is there, some areas are there which is totally monopolistic, where probably you cannot negotiate.
Thank you, Tuhin. That was my question.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tuhin, anybody, Dr. Snehalata, did you have any questions?
You're on mute, Dr.
I think you're on
Snehalata.
mute.
You're on mute, Dr.
You're on
Snehalata.
mute, Doctor. Dr. Snehalata, we can't hear you.
You can write in the chat box.
I have prompted her to unmute. Let's see if she sees that. Yeah, I think she did. Okay. Yeah, now we can hear.
Yes. It's a very good presentation, actually, I have heard today, and it is very knowledgeable. I face so many times this difficulty in negotiations. I am a chief medical officer from the Tata Power Delhi Distribution Limited, and now after superannuation, I am running NGO and working with the so many companies with the health at doorstep in the JJ clusters and resettlement communities in Delhi. So it's very helpful for me today At the time of the negotiation, so many times being a doctor, I could not do, could not say, and because I'm not from the corporate and all. So that gave me the very much help in this negotiation in coming March or February for the next tenure. Thank you so much, Dr. Krishna Murali. Thank you so much.
So I think we're out of time, so we should be wrapping up. So I'd like to start by thanking all the participants for attending, and of course, Tuhin for really putting this amazing, engaging presentation. There were so many elements which we unconsciously did, but did not realize that there's a science behind it. So thank you, Tuhin, for enlightening us. So this recording will, of course, be available for everybody who's registered and who is a part of our group. And do watch out for future sessions like this every Saturday from CFS. With that, thanks a lot and have a good rest of the weekend.
And I would take just a minute in the end, actually, to share this with the participants for their advantage, that these webinars are small clippets of very important topics that we think we all need in our lives. But as you know, as I heard Dr. Snehata speaking, this is just a very small tip of the iceberg, as even Tuhin was mentioning. So if you really, really would like to get a training, I think you need to register with us for a full-fledged course on negotiation, because that will totally empower you with the tools, techniques, skills. Here okay, you should have all this, but the question is how? So just by hearing it once, we won't be able to inculcate. So whatever webinars we do, these are like the trailer of the film that is there with us. So if you feel any of the participants, if they feel that they would like to register with us with a detailed course on the topic, we would be very happy to share details, and you can get into that as well. So that's just an additional thing I wanted to add to what Uday said already. So thank you all, and a big thanks to Tuhin from my side and all of us at CLC. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.